Trump Media DJT, let's talk about it. I spent $700 a day. I put in a little position into the stock to try to swing trade it here within the next we'll see here. I may make it go into next week, but I bought 20 shares at $35 even, and I'm going to see if I can maybe swing that up. Obviously, this is not a huge position. It's just something to play around with and maybe, scalp a little bit of money on the side and put it somewhere else. Probably going to throw it in SoFi, but we'll see what happens here. So let's go right into what's going on with the stock here, and, it's moving. It's not going to stop moving. This is what I've been talking about this for a while now. The stock is going to $50 before the election. I don't think you're going to stop it. I don't think nothing's going to stop it. So obviously the big news, what's happening here in the next 48 hours, and we'll see how this plays out here, but Trump is going on the Joe Rogan podcast. And from what we're reading, it's supposed to just be a normal podcast. Joe, Trump in his studio in Texas, from what we're seeing. So right now, Trump Mania is just going wild. It is going flipping nuts. The betting average right now with Trump is almost at 61%. Last time we saw that, those kind of numbers were in 2016, and that was when Trump won the election. Now, obviously, when it comes to polls, Trump's not doing so hot in polls, but polls are very biased, obviously, especially when you're trying to really dig into just legitimate polls right now. They're very hard to find just for either candidate because it's always, one of those websites are structured towards one of the candidates more. So polls are really biased at this point. But like I said, $35, it's going to be impossible to not see that here very soon. We could see it here by Friday. That's why I jumped in today. I said I'm just going to jump in and see what happens here. I would hate to miss out if something bigger were to happen. Funny enough, the stock market sold off more today. It finally sold off more. S&P 500 finally fell under 58 right at the tail end of the day here, and just finally we saw some sell-off in the market. We saw sell-off in everything except DJT here. That is why we never saw it sold off a little bit right when the market sold off, a little bit, but it rebounded really good. And it could have done worse. Like it could have just fell apart, but it didn't. Here's the Skippy with the situation. I've spoke about this so much. This is not a stock that you need to be in if you're way too emotional. You need to understand what you're getting yourself involved in here. These next 2 weeks, we've pretty much got this. It's almost a week at this point, but we've got this situation where we are buying, selling. I could have sold today and made like $50 off the stock, and I bought it at 35, and then it went up to like 36 and some change, and I think I could have made like $50-$60, but I didn't because those are not the numbers I'm looking at, and I know it's going to go more here. I know that the stock is probably, if not by Friday, Monday, sometime next week. The question is, when is Rogan going to release this podcast? Now, this podcast, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be positive for Trump. It may not be, but knowing someone who has been watching Joe for years and loves his podcast, I know Joe's not going to attack Trump. He's not going to be rude with him. Now, he's going to, push questions with him and ask him things, but I think they're going to get along. I think they're both good at just, getting their ideas and their conversation, formulating it out of their mouth. So I think it's going to be positive for Trump. I think this is going to be a very positive thing. Now, obviously, the podcast is happening Friday. We may not see the podcast until Monday, if that. Joe, he's essentially following the same schedule as he always does with podcasts. So we may not, this may really bleed into like this time next week. It may be next Wednesday before we see this podcast be released. Now with that, this is a situation where I probably will be holding this stock until next week. Now, a lot of people are probably going, why would you sell it after the podcast? It depends. I don't know when I'm selling the stock yet. And obviously, I'm just talking about what I'm doing because I see so many people commenting, asking what I'm doing. Well, I'm telling you what I'm doing now. If the stock went to $45 to $50, I would be in a lot of profit right now. I'd be in a lot of profit range. If the stock went to 50 and over, I would probably sell, just because the stock has struggled at 50 and above. It's struggled there. That doesn't mean it can't go higher or stay there for a moment, but I would be perfectly happy just, with a 7-day holding period of just flipping the stock at that point. Now, obviously, let's talk about the other scenario here. Like I said, a lot of this may sound like a broken record because I've talked about a lot of this, but if you're new to me talking about it, this is essentially what I'm thinking here and what I'm going to say. Key bullet points here with this stock, with this situation. Like I said, you cannot be a part of this and be emotional with it. If you're buying this stock right now to hold it because you're like, I just love Trump and I want to be a part of the Trump train and I'm going to hold this stock for the next years until it works, that is going to get you burned real fast. And let me explain why. If Trump does not win this election, this stock, this company will be gone within 365 days from now. It will be gone, because what's going to happen if Kamala wins? The media itself will come after this company and demolish it. It will be pushed down. It will not survive what's coming, and we've already seen that. We've already seen that. It's hard to find stuff now with Trump media now because they don't want it out there. So for the survival of this stock, yes, Trump needs a win. Now, let's say, that was the bad scenario, Trump losing for the stock. And I would tell you, if you hold this stock over the election, like you're like, I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to take a gamble that Trump's going to win this election, I would have a sell limit set up, like legit have a sell limit set up. Do not allow yourself to get into a situation where you're under, because if Trump loses this election, do not be shocked to see this stock go from, let's say it's at $60 day of election and then Kamala gets named president. The stock will probably bleed to $15 to $10. I guarantee you, because there'll be nothing left. There'll be nothing left. And people know that the media will come after Trump. They will, they will come after his main company here, Trump Media. So do not be naive to what is going to happen there with that. And that's not me trying to say things bad about the company or Trump. I'm not. I'm talking investor to investor. Hey, trying to save you money. I've been doing this for a while, and the market is ruthless. So please understand that it doesn't care about what you think about a company or free speech. It does not care. It cares about money and people making their money. So it will be a bloodbath on this stock if Trump loses this election. Now, the scenario that I think a lot of us are wanting here, Trump does win the election. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, now we're into money that we don't know about. Now we're into money where we're going, it's fugazi, because we don't know how high it's going to go, okay? So let's say day of election, let's just say it's at $50. Say it's at $60. And it looks like Trump's winning. It's announced, hey, he's got the electoral votes, he's won. This is the election. I would not be shocked to see the stock run to $80 to $100. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked to see it break records. I would not be shocked to see it be the highest stock move with volume that day, maybe that week, maybe election week. I would not be shocked. Now, obviously, there's going to be a certain kind of person in the stock at that point. You're either going to sold and then buy back in, or you're either going to have held until after the election. I get either way, but what I'm telling you is whatever money you're putting into this, make sure you can lose a little bit of it or all of it. That's the reality of the situation. This is not an investment right now. Do you understand? This is not an investment. This isn't something where you look at and go like, this is the next Facebook. This is the next Meta. This is the next, Palantir. No. Because if Trump does win, okay, 6 months from now, then we're talking about, okay, well, what are the quarterlies? Then we're going to be really investing. Then people are going to go, well, if I'm going to leave my X amount of money here, okay, what is Trump media bringing in quarterly? What are their plans? What are they doing? Then it'll get a little more cutthroat when it comes to investors on top of investors, because they'll be wanting to know, okay, well, what are we doing here as a company? Right now, it's just hype. It's fugazi. It's FOMO. It's we're just having fun here. We got 2 weeks to play around and have fun here. And here's the other situation. I've said this in every video, but they halted the stock last week. They halted the stock. Could they halt it again if it runs hard? Absolutely. And that's my number one worry right now, that this stock Friday or next Monday may run really, really strong. Like it may run really hard, and then they halt it again. They freeze it. And then you can't sell. You can't buy. You can't do anything. It's BS, but they can do it again. They've done it several times with the stock this year. They may do it again. They just did it last week. I'm not going to go over charts, anything like that. I think it's pretty safe and simple. It's a black and white picture here. What's happening? It's going back up. It's the FOMO's going here. The Trump and Joe, it's scheduled. They're going to talk Friday. The market had sell off today. The stock probably would have ran. Trump media here probably would have ran to like 38 today if the stock market did not have trouble today. But we saw sell off in the stock market, and the stock just took a little bit of a hit right when the stock market did, but then it rebounded. It rebounded probably better than any other stock that I've seen today. Everything's red except Trump media, which tells you 100% it's not following the general market. It's totally fake what's going on with it, which is encouraging for what we're dealing with here in the next 2 weeks. So it's a strong army of investors behind it. It's strong. I'm not worried about it right now. Okay? I'm not worried about it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Is it going to 40? It's going to 40. Is it going to 45? Probably by this time next week. Is it going to 50? Probably real soon. The question is, how fast can we get there, and are they going to allow it? It's going to happen. The question is, are they going to halt it? And how high can it go, and how high is it going to be allowed to go? The hype, everything is there. I bought in today at 35 just because I knew. Okay, once I saw the confirmation that Trump and Joe were going to be having an interview, I was like, all right, here we go. I know what's about to happen here. I'm not going to miss this little bullet train here. I'm in. And obviously Trump, besides like Charlemagne or the Hot Tui girl at this point, he has the biggest podcast. So this is going to be huge. It's going to be all over the news. Obviously, CNN is going to eat it up. MSNBC, all of them, whatever it is, they're going to take clips from it. They're going to strew it, all that kind of stuff. But it's still going to bring up the Trump hype. It's really going to push it. And I hope it's a good interview. I do. I hope it's a good interview. I hope Joe asks him some hard questions. I do. And I hope he answers them. So, friends, I wish all of you the best of luck. I would chime back in here with what's going on and where I'm at with the stock. I don't know what's going to happen in the market tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting. It may just be kind of a low in the market tomorrow because we've just constantly seen sell-off here, and today was real bad sell-off because of reports that came out. But DJT is going to do what it wants to do here. It's not going to follow the market. I wouldn't be shocked if it closed at 36 high or 37 low tomorrow. We're essentially grabbing $1 a day. At this point, since 2 weeks ago, we've been capturing at least $1 to $3 a day. That's what's been going on. So I don't know if you're looking at the chart, but here I go talk about the chart. But if you study the chart, essentially within 24 to 48 hour periods, we're capturing $1 to $3 every time frame in there. So that should tell you it's not stopping. People are just buying more, and it's going to get worse. Like, it's going to be $45 here before we know it. Right now, $35, you may be begging to buy this at $35 this time next week. That's the real thing you need to be thinking about right there. You may be begging to buy it at $35. Friends, I wish you all luck. I would talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.